All right. Hi guys. How are you guys doing? I think we're making real progress, and then we're moving from the known to something more dramatic, something a bit advanced. And now we're going to be dealing with the if um function, or the if statement is one of the most important um functions you have to know with Excel. We're going to be doing some very advanced stuff with the if function here. So I'm going to move from the basic to something beyond basic. And then everything that has to cover with, has to do with the if function, I'm going to give you different examples so that you can be a pro at using the if function. So without further ado, so if the if function, what exactly it is? Now, the if function, like this, the if function does what? Checks whether a condition is met, then returns one value if true, another value if false. So what the if function definitely or technically does is just to check if a condition is met. It's a conditional statement. And then if the value is true, right, it returns one value if true, and then another value if false. All right, so it's just doing two things, doing one of two things. Either the value is true or either the value is false, whichever way it returns it. So without further ado, let's see how to use the if function. I know you've been hearing about the if function, or you've used the if function before, but let's look at it. Let's look at an overview of the if function. And first, I'm going to start with something very simple. Now, here is a real life example. So there is a company. There's a company, and then there's some product here. As you can see, this is a product ID. We have the sales target. This is sales achieved, and then we want to know the status. Okay. So you've been given for this particular product, GMN 112. There is a sales target of $4,500. And then this customer was able to, or this employee was able to achieve this sales target, all right, 4,800. So we want to know the status, okay? We want to know the status. How do we know the status? Based on if the sales achieved is greater than the sales, is equal to or greater than the sales target, then we can say yes, sales achieved. Otherwise, we should say not achieved. So how do we do that? Real quick, we'll just put the formula straight up and let me show you how it works real quick. Say equals to the if function, double click like so, a logical test. The logical test here is that the sales achieved, that's D5 here, must be what? Greater than or equals to, okay, the sales target, okay? Now, that is a logical test. What is the value? The value that should be returned if true. What is the value that should be returned if true? All right, so if true that the sales achieved is equal to or greater than the sales target, then what should be the value? Let's say, let's call it value if true is achieved. So we make a quote like this, and then we type achieved, right? Achieved, and then value if not true. If that logical statement is not true, then let's say not achieved, not achieved, right? Then we close the quote, right? So then we close the bracket, then we enter. So in this case, looking at it, we can see that this, for this particular product, the sales achieved, the sales target was 4,500. And then the sales achieved, we can see clearly that the sales achieved was 4,800. So it means that the target, all right, the sales target have been achieved. Okay, so that's why the status is saying yes. So we just simply roll it down as we know for other cells there. And then let's see. So we can check for this one. This one is not achieved. The GNM113 is not achieved. Why? Because the sales target is 7,800. And then the sales achieved is just 7,500. So it's not yet 7,800. Thus, it is not achieved. And then you can look at that for other ones. For the second one, GNM11 is achieved. You know why? Because it is exactly, it's equals to the sales target. The sales achieved is equal to the sales target. That's 12,000. Here is also 12,000. That's why we say it's achieved. And then you can check for other ones. You can see for yourself. All right, so that's very straightforward, and that's very, very self-explanatory. That's very basic how we can use the if function. That does the overview. So let's move to the next one. The next tab. And we'll talk about using the if functions with calculations. We'll be doing some calculations with our if function. Now check it out. This is a real life scenario. Okay, so you are analyzing real life data sets. Now, these are real life stuff you'll be doing as a data analyst. Now, we have for this particular data, we have a salesperson, we have sales target unit, then sales achieved. All right, and also there's going to be a bonus now. Now, and there is also salary of each salesperson. Each salesperson is to be paid $500. Now, here's the thing. Now, if the person is able to achieve his sales target, now sales achieved, for instance, for the first person, we have Mike, and the sales target for Mike is 50. And then if Mike is able to achieve his sales target, that is 50 or more than 50, then he's entitled to a bonus. All right. Now we're going to see that. So we're going to be performing calculations alongside with the if functions. So let's erase this one and then let's do it all over again so that we can really understand what we are trying to do. So equals to, all right, we want to see whether this person, Mike, deserves to get a bonus now. And how do we calculate that bonus? Okay, and what happens if he doesn't get the bonus? What will happen, or what will be given, what will we show then? So let's check it out. The equals to if. Double click here. My logical test is if sales achieved, that's D5, understand, is greater than or equals to the sales target. Okay, so what do we do? If sales achieved is greater than or equals to the sales target, logical. Now, this is the value if true. Now, here we're going to be performing something. We are going to be performing a calculation to return the value if true. Okay. And in this case here, what we're going to be doing will be something something we've done before. An example, we're going to be using an absolute cell reference. There's a particular cell here we're going to be referencing, and that's this. So we're going to the value if true will be to select this particular cell. That's the salary of each salesperson. The salary is $500. So $500, we want to do something. The absolute cell reference, of course, you know what to do, F4, because we want that particular cell to stay. Even if you copy the formula to another cell, that particular cell and the value should stay fixed. All right, so that's why we're using an absolute cell reference. So we're going to get that particular, we're going to get his sales salary, that's $500, and then we multiply by what? The difference between the sales achieved, that's D5, and then the sales target, then we divide it by what? By the sales achieved. So we say that we are performing a calculation along with our if statement. So we open brackets this time around, and what do we say? D5, this guy, okay, minus C5, this guy, and then we close bracket, divided by what? Divided by what? C5 again. All right, divided by C5. That's the sales achieved. Okay. All right. And now what we have done here is this. This is very simple. The whole of this from here is the value if true. We are making a calculation, all right, for the value if true. Okay. If it is true, all right, that the sales achieved is greater than or equal to the sales target unit, then make this calculation. Otherwise, return this expression, this text, not applicable. In other words, this person is not supposed to, or is not worthy of getting that bonus. Okay. Now let's check it out again. Let me really again explain. So this person now is getting a bonus of $45 based on the target he was given and then the sales he has achieved. If he's able to equal the sales target and even surpass it, then there's going to be a bonus for him. Otherwise, it's not applicable. He cannot receive any bonus. So let's run it down. Let's run it down to see for other people. Now, we can see that for Teresa is not applicable because Teresa was given a sales target of 60. Teresa was only able to achieve 45. Thus, is not applicable, she cannot get a bonus. Okay, so we made the calculations, and then after making the calculations, that the difference between the sales achieved and the sales target, and divided by the sales achieved. Okay, and there was no point even doing that calculation for her, because why? Because our sales target has not been met. So that's why we cannot make that. So the SS simply ignored this particular logical, it ignored that particular part and then selected this not applicable, not applicable. All right, it's not applicable, then not application. All right, we enter. So we check for the next person, Nicholas. We can see that Nicholas was able to achieve. So he was given a sales target of 40, he made 45. And because of that, so Excel, first of all, looked, was he able to achieve the target? If he was able to achieve the target, that's a logical, and the logical statement is true. That's why Excel now ran this first option here, and then he ran it down, and he was able to calculate the bonus for him. Otherwise, he would say not applicable, because the logical expression is false. So let me quickly change this to not applicable, not application, not applicable. Enter, and of course, I can run it down to fill up for other cells, like so, and that's it. All right, so again, let me just explain once again. Now, what we're trying to achieve here is this, with the if functions. So we are using the if function together with a calculation, with calculations. Now, remember that the if function returns values, one of two options, either true or false, okay? Equals to if checks whether the condition is met and returns one value if true, another value if false. So we have the logical test, and then we have the value if true and the value if false. So in our case here, we have run the logical test. And what was our logical test? A logical test was to check if the sales achieved is greater than the sales target. Now, if it is true, what should happen? In this case here, we're going to be calculating the bonus. And how do we calculate the bonus? We now say this salary of each salesperson, which is 500, is reference. Okay? We multiply this salary by what? The difference between the sales achieved and the sales target, and divide by the what? The sales achieved. That's for us to get the bonus. So if this logical test is true, if the sales achieved is greater than the sales target, then return the calculation that we've made. Otherwise, if it is not true, return the value if false, that is not applicable. And that's a simple way of going about this. Real quick. That's very easy. So we advance, we're going to move forward. The next one we're going to be dealing with is the nested if. The nested if. Now, this is very important. Now, as you can already see on my example, we have A, B, C, and all of that. Now, this is just for us to check our subject and the mark, and then we return the grade. Now, we have been given the grading system here. So if return A, if the score or the mark is above 80. Return B if it is between 70 and 79. Return C if it is between 60 and 69. Return D if it's between 50 and 59. Return F if the mark is below 50. So, all right, we already are used to the school grading system and academic grading system. So we're going to simply use our if functions to get that done. All right, so let's erase this one like so that we can do it together. I don't like that formatting. I bring it down and I right click and I say clear contents. Okay. All right, let's do that real quick. We are using the nested if. That's an if inside an if. So please, guys, open your eyes and check this out. Equals to, all right? Okay. The first one we're going to be doing is if, double click like so, logical test. If C5, that's mark. Now we have the mark to be 94. If C5, okay, is greater than or equals to 80, okay, what should it return? Return what? Value if true, as you can see, return A. All right. So we are dealing with a nested if. So we are putting if inside if. Okay. So we check it out for the first one. If the max here is greater than 80, return A. All right. Otherwise, if for the first one, we go again, we're going to reiterate it. So we are using a nested if. So next we're going to be saying is if, okay, double click on this max here, okay, if max, that's C5 again, okay, if C5 is greater than or equals to 60, okay, sorry, 70, not 60, we want to get the B grade. If C5 is greater than or equal to 70, value that it should be returned is what? B. All right? Okay? We continue. We can do again. If, double click, logical test again. If C5 again is what? Greater than or equals to 60, what should it return? Return what? C. Okay? Let me close the quote. Now check this out now. C is between 60 and 69. So anything that is greater than 60 or equal to 60. So from 60 down to 69, okay? That is the range for C, okay? Anything that is between from 60 to 69, that is for C. That's why we're having, if C5 is greater than or equal to 60, then return C there. So let's continue. We move on in life, and then the next thing we're going to say, if again, remember we're using a nested if this guy, the max C5 is what? Greater than or equals to 50 this time around. 50, return what? Return D. Okay? And then finally, anything below 50. This happens to be what? The value if false. Finally, the value if false, do what? Return what? F, like this, and it close. Then you close it according to the number of if that were open. So in our case, we have how many if there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we close the bracket 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we enter like so. So we can see that since the max of format is 94, we're returning what? A. Because it is greater than what? 80. So we are just simply going to drag it down like so. And then voila. So for physics, this person scored 86. So he had A. For chemistry, he scored 86. He had A. For biology, he scored 78. He had B because it's less than 80. So it's between 70 and 79. That's why it's having B. For English, it scores 68. And then for economics, you can see that it scored 54, and that's a D grade. And then for religion, you see that the person had F because it's below 50. So for geography, we can also see that too. So that's how to use the nested if statement, the nested if statement. So we just use it to like an if inside an if and inside an if so that it can return a particular result. All right, so let's move to the next.